Hey, what's up? It's Dream, and today we got the update in EN that we have the return of the Bravely Default collab. This means that all three of our girls that you can see on screen behind my A2 are back and pullable in the game. So, with that happening, let's talk about the banner, if it's worth it, where the characters are in the meta right now, their packs, if those are worth it, and kind of, my general thoughts on what you should do with this banner. When Edea came out, she was just a standout unit right next to Fior. She was going to shave a lot of shields. She was getting hit really hard. I used her in every single piece of content up until when the Near collab came out, and that's when she finally got replaced for me. But basically, every single warrior on here besides Lionel and Tikiland should take the slot before her. So you might not have all of the warriors, but if you have like two or three, she's not really that big of a need, especially since there's warriors stronger than her that are just in the general pool now, being Ulbrich and Joshua. So if you have like a 2B and a Fior, or if you have like a Lars and a Fior, you don't really need her in your comp. You're probably better off getting a random warrior out of your general pool. So that's kind of where she landed in the meta. And the only fight that I've actually gotten to use her as a tank in is Grandport level 100. And even then, it's like kind of sort of a meme. It was fun to do and it worked, but it's not like a super solid strategy you're going to use across many fights. So she's not really a tank in the way that a Tressa or a Gilderoy or even a Devon is going to be for you going forward. In the future, when we get Fortune Weapons, she will pop off with a 600 potency light attack with 5 hits at full BP. But even then, she's going to be like a good shield shaver, someone that's good to come in and take a hit. She's not going to be like crazy light unit. So that's kind of where she landed. Let's talk about our next waifu. Sort by Thief. Now, this is another category where when Adele came out, she was goated with the sauce. You'd bring her and Therian to fucking everything. But now we have a few more options. We have A2, of course, Therian, like I said. And then we have Falco, which I don't have on screen right now, but he is basically our number 3 now for that slot. And then we even have stuff like Nicola, which is kind of like more of a supporty kind of thief. And so Adele is basically in 4th place right now. Meaning that once again, if you have like A2 or Therian, or A2 and Falco, Therian and Falco, like she's not going to be like a must-have in your comp. Because once again, like if you're missing a Therian or a Falco, so you're better off trying to get Therian and Falco out of the general pool than I think you are trying to get Adele and her Awakenings out of this one personally. So again, like another unit that kind of fell just below par. Still usable, still okay. Last but not least, we have Agnes in the healer category. So again, this is another unit where she came through pretty early, and she basically replaced Theo for most people because she not only had his regen, but she also had a burst heal to go with it. And then you could also either bring her light or her wind attacks to be, super useful. Since those were targeting a lot of the weaknesses of the stuff at the time. But now we have Ophelia. And then also to that effect, we have Alphen, who is basically just what you would run Agnes for in a lot of compositions. She doesn't hit too hard in terms of light or wind, so she's not really brought as like a semi DPS for either of those things. She's also outclassed in those as damage dealers. So if you already have an Ophelia, an Alphen, hell, if you even already have a Theo, Theo's gonna get you there, basically. I don't think there's anything that you're gonna clear with Agnes in the slot that you couldn't clear with Theo in that slot, right? And then having Alphen or Ophelia in that slot, you're doing even better, right? There's things that they are actually in that she's not in that she can't clear in that slot. So basically, all 3 of these girls have already been phased out of the meta to the point where you don't even need everything. You kind of just need 1 or 2 better things than them, to the point where they like basically never show up to a run unless you're forcing them in because you like them. So meta-wise, the collab this time is just kind of a full skip, which is unfortunate because I know there's a lot of Octopath fans who, like me, were big fans of Bravely Default before Octopath was even a thing. So it's unfortunate, but I will say that they are still usable. if you're a super big fan of these girls, if you're just a diehard Agnes fan, diehard McGurger fan, you know, you're really down for Adele, then you can still pull, you know, just to get your waifu, and they're usable. I will say that they're still usable. They're just not optimal in any of their roles anymore. So even with, you know, with that being the case, right? With that being, no matter what the banner or the packs look like, that would be my, you know, my overview of what they're like in the meta right now. So now it only gets worse. So let's go to the banner. They did not give us the old banners that we had the first time around. The first time around, each of the girls had their own 2 weeks of release, basically. And so you could pull on just the Edea banner. You could pull on just the Adele banner, just the Agnes banner. But now they've combined them into our exact near banner that we just had, where there is a step up, where you are guaranteed to get one of the girls on step 5. And then throughout the pulls, you have a 2% chance to get a collab unit just randomly. And then, of course, we have the free version where you're just pulling on a regular banner with no guarantees and no extra stuff. The pities even are still 200, and their side accessories are 100. None of these really worth grabbing. And then, yeah, these pities are just really, really high for characters that really aren't in the meta anymore. I was really hoping that they would reduce them to, you know, give people a reason to pull, really. I would say that this is a pretty free skip, regardless of free-to-play, Lightspender, or Whale. So even for the Whales, I said this is a skip, and it's because they're all separated like this. If you guys have known, if you guys follow like any of the clears for the level 100 stuff, or some of the more optimized stuff in Arena, you'll notice that there is an accessory that a lot of people like me like to use, and that is Edea's A4. What her A4 does, a taunt to all units automatically when at full HP. So this means that you can have someone like a Tressa in the back line with Edea A4 on her as an accessory, and you can bring her to the front casting max BP on her sidestep, giving her the max amount of dodge for physical attacks, and it auto-provokes while doing that. And since she was in the back line, presumably she's at full HP, she hadn't taken damage up to that point, or if she did, she healed it, right? So there are a lot of strategies that involve things like that, where a backliner, even someone like Adele who has a sidestep, can come in with the accessory and just sidestep an ultimate, or sidestep something, you know, that's going to hit really hard that you just don't want to deal with. An example of this is in the Largo fight. You can put Edea A4 on Ophelia, and you can put her magic counter on, and have her come to the front with full HP, and just fully deflect his lightning nuke. And that's just a perfectly, like, that's a perfect way to just deal with his mechanic. If anything, his ult turns become free turns because of that. And so Edea's A4 is one of the most useful and broken accessories in the game, currently in EN. That being said, this banner makes it way, way too hard to get it. I would say that if they had come out in 3 separate banners and you could pull on just Edea, my recommendation for Whales or heavy spenders would probably be to get Edea A4. But my recommendation with the banner the way it is that you should probably just full skip that dream altogether. In the future, we will get units that kind of do the same thing. Right now, we even have Cardona, where she can taunt someone else, and you can do the same strategy. It just takes 2 units instead of 1. But even in Largo, we've seen people do that. So it is doable without her accessory, and the odds of you, even let's say you're full whaling out, you do all 4 laps of this paid banner, and then you even go deeper into the regular banner. How deep you have to go to get Edea A4, like statistically, is gross, and it's just super, super not worth it. Because even getting the A4s of the other 2 girls along the way, they're just okay. Agnes's is a passive that where if you get hit once, or if you get knocked out once, you auto-res, and it comes with 100 magic attack, which is nothing to scoff at, but it's not something to wail at this point in the game. We have a lot stronger elemental-based A4s in the game that make way more of an impact than Agnes's does. And then even same thing with Adele, her dagger up accessory is just okay. Like it's you know, if you have it, you're probably going to bring it on your thief comps on anyone who needs it, but it's not something to go out of your way for. So with all of those things combined, I really just think that this just isn't worth it even for whales. We'll get units in the future like Fior EX and stuff like that that will allow strategies like that to happen without having a need for A4. So yeah, that's my thought on the banner. However, this is where it gets a little lighter, because if you are a spender, we have some really good value packs, regardless of if you're going to use those gems on this banner or not. Normally, when you go to buy, say, 100 rubies, right? You're going to get 100 rubies and then 150 free rubies along with it. Or you're going to buy a 30 pack and you're going to get 300 paid rubies and you're going to get 30 free rubies with it, right? But these new packs have rates way better than that, and they're not split between free and paid. So this Elvis pack is $10 and you get 50% extra, you get 150 rubies, and they're all paid rubies. And then of course, there's bonuses. There's $30 packs that give 400, so again, that is an extra 33% value. And then we have the Champion of Heroes pack. And this is kind of more reminiscent of what the Nier packs looked like. So we have an extra 20% paid rubies, which is already better than the regular 100 pack by 50 rubies, and they're all paid rubies. And then it also comes with one of each of their stones. And I cannot describe how good of a value this is if you're a spender, but I'm going to try. So on top of the 20% extra paid rubies, already insane, already worth it if you're going to spend in this game. These 3 stones, even if you're not using them on the girls, can be crushed into dust in a later patch and exchanged for either half of a pet or half of a whole nother character's awakened stone. So eventually we will get a exchange shop in the game. We don't know when it's coming. Sometime during Bestower of All in the future. Hopefully sometime this year would be really nice. We get an exchange shop where extra awakening stones that we haven't used or don't want to use, we can crush up into 1,000 dust, and we can use 6,000 dust to buy an awakening stone of a character we already have once per month. So let's say right now my Joshua is A1, right? If I want to get his A4, which I really do, when the shop comes out, I'm going to be buying one of his stones every month for 3 months to get my A1 to A4, and I can use that using all mist stones on other characters I don't want to use. So anyone that's already over A4 or characters that I have at like A0 or A1 where I don't want their A2 or their A3 and I've just been holding onto the stone to crush it, that's what you can use these for. So this pack is basically half of anything you want in the future between a pet or another stone, along with the best value of paid rubies they've ever given us, I think, besides the 50% stuff that we got during Nier. But that was like a $10 pack, and I think like a $20 pack, $30 pack. This is a $100 pack that we're getting that value on. So if you are a spender, these packs are an easy grab, in my opinion, regardless of if, like, even if you're never going to use these Adelle guide stones, you don't even pull Adelle, right? You can just crush up those guide stones, get shards, turn them into someone else's guide stones, pocket those 130% paid rubies that you would have, that you got from the thing, and be happy on your way. If you are so inclined to spend that much money on this game. And then, yeah, that basically covers it. You can do the collab, you can go through the tower. I'm not going to do any of the story spoilers, but basically just follow the memoirs and enjoy the story. But yeah, that's my review of the characters, the banner, the packs, and what you should do with them. So take that with what you will. If you end up pulling, good luck. I hope you get your waifu. If you're skipping, me and Prim should be recording another podcast this week, in which we'll talk about a few of the upcoming new banner types, the units you should be looking out for, and basically a really good way to spend your rubies on them, and the thought process you should go into, like, lining up what you want in the future. So we'll get into that in the next podcast. Hopefully that'll come out next week. Also in the background, the Discord has been working on more free-to-play friendly comps for you guys for the Largo race that just started today as well. So look forward to episode 2 of the podcast, and then, of course, the updated Largo guide with more free-to-play clears and that kind of stuff. All right, this has been Dream. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time. Stay safe. Much love. Stay cute. Booyah.